Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's been a minute since I've done an Ask a Daddy video, but I decided to do one. It's Veterans Day. I wanted to wish a happy Veterans Day to everyone out there, to the spouses included, because again, if you were married to one of us service members, then you definitely served as well. So happy Veterans Day, and I'm gonna tell you a quick Veterans Day story. So I joined the service in 2001, November. And, of course, you go off to boot camp and then you go to your A school, which mine was ITA school, where I learned how to be an information technician. Now, during this period of time, you're up there and there's a lot of, you're getting acclimated to the military. So there's a lot of patriotic type stuff going on. And you feel yourself becoming more and more patriotic and more for this country, which is a good thing. Prior to going to the military, I had some experience with the racism and just different things of that nature. I studied, some of the information and read some literature on it. So I was pretty aware of social issues, if you will. When you go to boot camp, you go to your school, they do a pretty good job of helping you believe in the American dream and just how great this country is, which it is a great country. But long story short, I found out that again, there were still things that were unique to me and my skin color, right, when I was in the uniform and then when I was out of it. So, quick story is basically after boot camp, after your school, you go back, home on leave before you get stationed to your duty station. Um, so I'm walking through the airport. You have that green bag on your back. You're walking through with the uniform on, and let me tell you, the reception that I got was amazing. I mean, I never felt so much love from just random people. People were buying my drinks, asking to pay for my meal, shaking my hand, smiling. I almost felt like a little mini superhero. Just to tell the truth, I've never experienced that. And I remember thinking to myself, man, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe America doesn't fear me the way that I thought they did. Maybe it's in my mind. Maybe this different treatment that I've experienced is something that I've kind of made up because this reception here that I'm getting is amazing. That was like the best feeling. You know what I mean? Like it really was. I felt so proud to be an American. I felt so proud to be in the United States Navy. I felt proud to go off and possibly fight in this war because, again, in boot camp, one thing that they pretty much convinced us, and if you guys went in after 2011, or I'm sorry, after 9/11, then you remember, right? You remember, if you went after 9/11, you remember in boot camp, man, they were pretty much telling you that you was going to die. You go on to war, you're probably going to die, and I believe that. And but I was so proud, but it was short-lived. The very next day, and when I say, let me explain. I flew in to the Orlando airport at like 11 at night. My homeboy De Niro came and picked me up. Shout out De Niro. He came and picked me up from the airport. It was like 11 at night. So I got home like around 12. I wasn't going nowhere, right? I got home, relaxed, chilled out. I was going to get up the next morning and go make my rounds and go catch up with people I haven't seen in a while. I had a pocket full of money. I left. I ain't had no money. I came back. I had months worth of money stacked up. I was going to go have a good time. However, the first thing I had to do was get that car cleaned up. So I went, it was sitting for like about half a year. So I went, I said, it'd be a good idea to get an oil change. Went to go get an oil change and get a car wash. They had a special going on where if you got an oil change, you got your car wash for free. So I went to get the oil change, got a little coupon, went through the car wash line. The lady that was like working the car wash looked at me, looked at my coupon, and refused to service me. How'd you get this? I'm not giving you a wash, yada, 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 so on and so forth. I said, well, ma'am, they just I just got my oil change. They said if I get an oil change, I get a car wash. She refused to service me. So I went out of line. I went back to the oil change place, told them what happened, which again, they were connected. It was the same establishment. But anyway, and they said, oh, okay, well, we'll take care of it. So I go back through the line. The lady looks at me again, has some words, walks off. I'm talking about it was the weirdest thing that ever happened. But I just want to put you in my mindset real quick, just so you understand where I was coming from. This is my very first day back. I'm happy as I don't know what. I got a pocket full of money. I got a car. I'm about to go see some friends, my girl, about to do some shopping. You know what I mean? Like my spirits. And then the day before, I was in the airport getting bought all kind of drinks and food and people just giving me hugs and handshakes. My spirits are high. I'm feeling good. So I know I'm not giving this lady any kind of attitude or whatever, although that shouldn't matter anyway. But I just know that that's not the case. Well, this lady refuses to service me, man, and she walks off. And at that moment, all I could say, I felt isolated. I felt alone. You know, there was a long line behind me. I looked back, you know, at the people behind me, and of course, what are they going to do, right? And I don't expect them to do anything, but all I can remember is how alone I felt. So somebody else end up like, you know, doing a car wash. I go into the establishment, talk to the manager, and I'm explaining to him what happened. I'm like, you know, and the man looks at me and says, "What do you want me to do? What you want me to do? Your car was washed, right? Like, what are you talking about?" And at that moment, you know, again, I felt so defeated. I felt so alone. I felt so discriminated against. You know, I felt hated. And I said, you know, sir, I just came back. This is my first day back on leave. You know, and soon as I said that, he immediately, his tone and his demeanor switched, and he then began to talk to me like a person. So why am I sharing this story? I think that right now, in the climate that we're in, there are a lot of Americans who question whether or not certain Americans are actually treated differently in this country. I think some might think that it's a fantasy or people are making different things up. But I've actually lived it and I've experienced it. This is just one example. But it's one example that sticks out to me. And now that it's Veterans Day, literally every Veterans Day, I have these thoughts. I have thoughts of pride that go along with serving in the military. And then I have thoughts like this as well. Like, man, you know, it's amazing how I could be treated so differently when I'm out of uniform than when I am in uniform. And I'm not a different person. And so I hope that me sharing this story, what I hope that you do is I hope that you, or that what I would want for you to do is put yourself in someone else's shoes. Think about how you would feel if that were you. And you know that you did nothing wrong, right? And you were treated so differently. And the only thing that you can equate it to is something about me they don't like, right? Whether it's my skin color, maybe she didn't like the fact I had a pretty nice vehicle. I don't know what it was. You know what I mean? But I do know what it was. You see what I'm saying? And so there are, you know, different Americas for different people. You know, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, but it's going to take some of you to actually open your eyes and realize that there are some of us that are treated differently for reasons that are unfair. And really, I just want to share that. You know what I mean? Give you, unless you hear from people who maybe you know or you respect or whatever, you might continue to miss it, right? But if everybody is standing up and saying the same thing, or a number of people are standing up and saying the same thing, right? At some point in time, you have to listen. You have to say, you know what, maybe there is an issue going on. And so that is my reason for sharing this story. You know what I mean? Again, happy Veterans Day. Enjoy your day. Go get your free food. I'm about to go get me a meal right now, right? So enjoy your day. And yeah, until next time, remember, being a daddy ain't easy, but it is awesome.